I loaned my uncle $7,000 to help him rebuild his life. A month later, he was sharing photos from a lavish Paris getaway. "You'll get by," he texted, brushing it off. I grinned, blocked his contact, and moved forward. Now he's buried in debt, and my phone buzzes with 30 missed calls every morning. The first warning sign was him showing up unannounced at my office. Uncle Mason appeared in our reception area on a random Wednesday, dressed in what I later realized was a pristine new suit. His hair trimmed with that polished look that screams, "I'm here to win your trust." "Evan, my favorite nephew," he said with a wide smile. As if we were at a family barbecue, not my workplace. At 1 p.m., the front desk staff shot me that glance. The one that says they're debating whether to alert security. I hadn't seen Mason in ages. Not since Thanksgiving, when he gave a grand speech about how 2025 was his year to turn things around. In hindsight, I should have caught how he kept nudging every conversation toward cash. "Just 10 minutes, he said, raising his hands in that soothing way he always did when he wanted something. "I've got a deal I need to discuss." Those 10 minutes stretched into an hour at the cafe across the street. Mason was a master of words. That's probably how he kept landing solid jobs despite his history. He'd weave these intricate tales about office betrayals or envious coworkers whenever he was let go, and somehow, they always sounded convincing in the moment. This time, he swore it was different. He'd stumbled on a golden opportunity, a chance to join a trusted colleague in a startup. All he needed was seed money to lock it in. "Just until the contracts are finalized," he repeated. $7,000. That's all I need to secure my place." I had the funds. That was the problem. I'd been saving for a house deposit, and my partner, Leela, and I weren't planning to buy for another year. My cautious side screamed to say no, but then Mason brought up how he'd stepped in after my dad passed. "Remember that robot you built for the science fair?" he said, stirring his fourth coffee. "I stayed up all night helping you get it right. Your dad would have been so proud." He wasn't lying. Mason had been there for every milestone after we lost Dad, graduations, my first heartbreak, my first gig. He'd shown me how to knot a tie, how to swap a flat tire, all the things fathers pass down to their sons. I insisted on a contract. That's what I tell myself now, that I wasn't entirely gullible. Leela drafted it with me, her expression tense with doubt the whole time. "Are you sure about this?" she kept asking. "Something doesn't feel right." The agreement outlined repayment in 6 months with clear deadlines. Mason signed it with a dramatic flourish, as if he was doing me a favor by agreeing. "You're just like your dad," he said. "Always needing it on paper, but family's family, isn't it?" For 2 weeks, things seemed fine. Mason sent updates about meetings and documents. He even transferred $200 as an initial good faith payment. I started to think I'd been too skeptical, too harsh. Then my sister, Sophie, called. "Have you seen Mason's Instagram?" Her voice had that edge, the one that meant bad news was coming. "He's posting from some upscale Paris bistro with a view of the Eiffel Tower." I thought she was kidding. Mason had told me he was heading to a conference in Chicago that weekend. But there it was, photos of him beaming at a table piled with dishes I couldn't name, wine glasses sparkling. The post was 3 hours old. I texted him right away, explained the Paris pics. Hours later, his reply, "Relax, kid, you'll be fine, it's just cash, just cash." The cash I'd saved for 2 years, the cash meant for my future with Leela. The cash I'd entrusted to him because he was family. His final post that night showed the Eiffel Tower glowing against the night sky. The caption, "Some moments are worth any price. Living my truth." I spent that night flipping through old family albums, trying to square the man who taught me to ride a bike with the one who'd just taken my savings. Leela sat beside me, quiet but present. By morning, I'd made my decision. "What's the plan?" she asked. I blocked his number, removed him from my socials, and told workplace security to bar him if he showed up again. It wasn't about drama or revenge, just calm, deliberate steps to shut him out. That was a month ago. This morning, my phone lit up with 30 missed calls from unknown numbers and texts from relatives saying Mason was desperate to reach me. Apparently, he's in deep trouble. I haven't replied to anyone. Instead, I'm sitting here watching the dawn, feeling oddly at peace. For the first time, I see Mason for who he is. And I'm done being the fallback for a man who never learned to stand on his own. They say family is everything. But sometimes, family shows you exactly who you don't want to become. It's been a week, and things have gotten wilder. Those Paris photos, just the start of what I'm now calling Mason's grand European escapade, bankrolled by my savings, naturally. The next day, I got a text from his daughter, Chloe, who who I've never been close to since she lived with her mom after their divorce. "I'm so sorry about what Dad did," she wrote. "He's done this to everyone. I should have warned you." Over coffee, Chloe spilled the details. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment trip. Mason had planned it for months. The business opportunity he pitched me, total fiction. The suit, the haircut, the polished pitch, it was all part of his routine. "He pulled the same thing on Mom's parents before the split," she said, staring at her drink. "Took $12,000 for a surefire deal. A month later, he was in Atlantic City. It took Mom years to repay them." While we talked, Mason posted more photos: London, Rome, Barcelona, each one more extravagant. Designer outfits, gourmet meals, luxury hotels. My $7,000 was funding a dream tour. His captions stung the most: chasing freedom, no regrets, just life. And the worst, you take what you're owed. Sophie was furious at our weekly dinner. "He's not just stealing your money," she said. "He's flaunting it. He thinks he's untouchable." She was right. Looking back, I saw the pattern. Mason always lived like this, taking what he wanted, dodging consequences. But this time, he'd crossed the wrong person. Leela suggested a police report, but I had a better plan. I'd let him bury himself. I had the signed contract, proof of the loan, and now a collection of his social media posts showing how he spent it. Then his texts started shifting as his funds dwindled. "Hey, kid, might need to tweak the repayment plan." I didn't reply. "Evan, don't do this. Family sticks together." Silence. "You're just like your dad, so cold about money." That one almost hooked me. Almost. But Chloe's words about his patterns stuck with me. He knew exactly how to manipulate. His final text came at 4 a.m. "Fine, be that way. I sacrificed years raising you, and this is how you repay me? You'll regret this." I saved everything: texts, posts, transactions. Then I sent it all to his ex-wife, Nora. "He's been at this for decades," she replied instantly. "But no one's ever documented it like this." The bombshell came from Chloe the next day. Mason hadn't just scammed me. He'd borrowed from 3 other relatives before me, $30,000 total in 2 months, all spent on his European joyride. He told Aunt Claire it was for hospital bills, Uncle Dan it was for a coffee shop venture, and Mom's cousin it was for urgent surgery. This morning, his latest post showed him back in Paris, but the vibe had changed. The grin was forced, the fancy restaurant swapped for a cheap cafe, the designer clothes gone. Panic flickered in his eyes, then his voicemail. "Evan, we gotta talk. Things are messy here. I need a little help getting back. A small loan. I'll repay it all, I swear." I played it for Leela. "You know what's funny?" I said, deleting it. "He still thinks he's got this under control." Another unknown number called, probably another relative he'd roped into his mess. But burned bridges don't rebuild with charm. I hear he's got days left before his hotel card declines. After that, well, let's see what needing help really feels like for him. I'm just watching karma take the wheel. Update 2-3 months of silence ended with a 6 a.m. knock. I wasn't shocked to see Mason there, but I was surprised it took this long. The flashy suits were gone, replaced by a creased shirt that had seen better days. His usual swagger was now raw desperation. "Just listen," he pleaded, hands raised. 10 minutes, that's all." I shut the door. He lingered for 2 hours, knocking, calling. Leela wanted to call the cops, but I knew Mason feeds on attention. I brewed coffee, got ready for work, and walked past him. "Evan, please," he shouted. "They're taking my place." I kept going. That's when the storm hit. Chloe called later. Mason's European spree wasn't just funded by family loans. He'd maxed out 3 high-interest credit cards and sweet-talked a Parisian loan shark into covering his shortfall. "Dad's getting evicted next week," Chloe said, exhausted. "He asked to crash in my dorm. I told him I learned from him. Sometimes you cut toxic family off." Mason's desperation tour widened. He showed up at Sophie's dance studio, sobbing about homelessness, begged Leela at her gym to talk sense into me, even tried to get Nora to co-sign a loan. The family split. Older relatives, nostalgic for Mason's better days, called me heartless. "He raised you," Aunt Claire said. "You can't ditch him." But younger cousins shared their own stories: stolen tuition funds, cars borrowed and never returned, fake investments that vanished. Then Nora forwarded a detective's email from Paris. Mason hadn't just borrowed from a loan shark, he'd sold him a fake deal. Now some dangerous people wanted their money. I didn't reply to the detective. Instead, I sent it to Mason. Consequences hit harder when they're yours, don't they? His reply was instant. "I need $20,000 to fix this. Please, Evan, I'll lose it all. Like I lost my savings," I shot back. "Like everyone else you conned?" "That was different," he wrote. "I had a plan, now I'm in real trouble. These guys aren't playing." I sent the screenshots to the family group chat with the detective's email. This is what enabling looks like. It stops now. The tide turned. Even Claire stopped defending him. The family united not for Mason but against him. Yesterday, he lost his house. Today, he's sleeping in his car outside my building. He doesn't know I can see him from my window, pacing, phone to his ear, working another angle. But no one's answering anymore. His calls go to voicemail, his texts ignored, his schemes hitting walls he didn't expect. The loan shark called. I heard his ringtone through my window. He stared at the screen, terrified, and let it go unanswered. Sometimes revenge isn't action. It's inaction, stopping the enabling, the trust, the hope, and watching someone's lies collapse under their own weight. Final update last night, while Mason slept in his car outside, I made one call that changed it all. That Paris detective. He was very interested in my evidence. This morning, Mason banged on my door, his voice frantic. "They're coming for me, Evan, you gotta help." I opened the door, stared at him. The man who taught me to ride a bike was trembling, eyes wild. "I sent it all," I said coolly. "Every text, email, photo from your trip, the contract you signed." His face drained of color. "You didn't." "I did. To the detective, the family, the banks, the loan sharks, they all know where you are." He tried to push past me. I blocked him. "Remember saying I'd survive? It's just money. Now it's your turn." His phone rang, a French number. He froze. "Answer it," I said. "They won't stop." Sophie called later. Mason tried to pull money from his accounts. They were frozen. Fraud reports from multiple countries had banks on high alert. Chloe texted. "Dad called Mom, crying, said people are coming for him." "What did you do?" I told her I just shared the truth everywhere. By afternoon, Mason's world was crumbling. The loan sharks team served him legal papers for international fraud. His passports flagged, his accounts locked, his reputation trashed. That contract for my $7,000, notarized, filed, Cortretti. While he posted Paris selfies, I built a case that holds water. Leela watched him pace outside. "Think he'll bounce back?" she asked. "No," I said. "That's the point." That night, the family Zoomed, sharing stories, piecing together Mason's decades of scams. Nora nailed it. "He's not just broke, he's untouchable. No one will lend to him, no bank will deal with him." He's done. This morning, an envelope slid under my door, Mason's handwritten plea. I didn't read it. It's in the file with every lie, every scheme. His car's gone now. So is he. But with international fraud charges, he's not running far. Someone's always watching. They say revenge is best served cold. I say it's best served with evidence, piles of it. To those who called me cruel, this wasn't about the money. It was about justice, about accountability, about ensuring every person he conned gets their day in court. His last text came an hour ago. "You ruined me." My reply, "No, you ruined yourself, lie by lie." I blocked his new number, poured coffee, and wrote this. Sometimes the best endings aren't about forgiveness. They're about watching justice catch someone who thought they'd always escape. And damn, it feels good.